I feel that Fighting Force really has it going for them. They could really be the next Streets of Rage, but in 3D. But they just don't have it. They never took the opportunity. They never went full out with it. They played super safe for both games. And because of that, they are where they are now, in the history books, along with the rest of the statistics that claim that this and this many companies just outright fucking failed. And it's kind of sad, actually. Because how many people talk about the Fighting Force series in general? I bet you can't name a single one person that actually matters. Like if it's you or your friends talking about it, well, that's okay. But in the general scheme of things, do you hear any of the popular people talk about this? No. Nobody talks about this. Almost nobody remembers this fucking thing. And if they do, they probably don't remember it in the brightest of memories. They probably just remember it as, at best, a very mediocre beat-em-up game, and at worst, a really boring one. And I think that's the worst thing a game can ever be, besides being unplayable. Boring. A game should never be boring, because if it is, well, what the fuck is even the point then of playing it then? You're not gonna get the satisfaction you're looking for, you're just gonna be bored out of your goddamn mind. That's the reason you play the fucking game in the first place, right? To not be bored, to get entertained. And if the game fails at this one very purpose in its own little existence, well, we have a problem. A pretty serious one too. One that can very easily end the livelihoods of some people, which seems to happen a lot more often than it needs to. Oh yeah, this part is pretty self-explanatory. Don't fall into the red goop, because that is death goop. It makes you die if you touch it, instantly. They're pretty much by the end of this level anyway, actually, now that I think about it. Levels aren't too big, it's just that right now they're very easy, even on the harder difficulties. And later on they pick up the difficulty like crazy. So you're gonna need to be pretty damn careful. And the enemies will start exploiting bugs, which is gonna make them really fucking annoying. You'll see what I mean once we get to that. But I think the main problem with this game is that it really doesn't have any reason to exist the way it is right now. I think Fighting Force 2 should have been not this. It should have been another beat 'em up like the first game, but better. This is a completely different genre all of a sudden. It's not a beat 'em up anymore. It has beat 'em up elements, but it's more like an action adventure where you're doing platforming and stuff, where you're doing this shit, where you're trying to complete objectives. This is no longer the same beat 'em up that they're familiar with, the same pretty boring and sucky one that is. This is a completely different game they're looking into, and then it's called Fighting Force 2, and well, let's say you actually liked the first game. I kinda liked it too before, when I was younger. You picked up this game and it's nothing at all like the first game, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? This isn't Fighting Force. This is Action Force? I don't know. This is not the same game that you would be playing if you picked up the first Fighting Force. That's just my thing. By the way, I picked up a power glove. It just basically improves your damage output. That's all you need to know about it. Gonna need that blue key card, boy. There it is. Open that shit up and you're pretty much by the end of the level. That was pretty quick, wasn't it? But yeah. There's a good thing I can say about this game is that when it comes to the more technical details, it's pretty solid with that. But first, let's have a look at this guy before we continue.
Hey, what are you doing here? Man, a guy just can't get no peace and quiet around here. This is HammerMan's place. You just walked into a heap of trouble, mister.
HammerMan's gonna give it to ya. He heats up his hammer, you pull out your shotgun, and you gonna give it to ya. And that was the first boss fight. Goodbye, HammerMan. You were as worthless as you always are. That should be all of it. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying, on the technical detail, this game is pretty solid. There are no glaring bugs. There are no weird glitches or anything. Everything is working just fine, even with the bootleg versions, as I've noticed, which is good. It's very well appreciated that, at the very least on the technical side of all things, it's solid. But the fun factor is just not there. It's not fun. So why the fuck am I playing it then? Well, to show that, well, it's not that bad. Oh, and I skipped the cutscene. Oh, boo fucking who. It basically just showed Hawk Manson escaping the building that's blowing up by jumping into a helicopter that came from his HQ. That's basically all you missed out on. Sorry that I skipped it, but it's kind of an instinct at this point. I'll try not to do that for the next cutscenes.
So, what we got? Industrial complex, high security shell. Much too quiet. Guess that's gonna change real soon.
That's very nice. But like I was saying, there really isn't much in the way of a fun factor. There's just not much going on. You turn on this game just to turn off your brain and just go through places and do stuff. That's about it. But for that, for the zen moments, you can just play anything else. There are much better alternatives. Not necessarily on the PlayStation 1, but just about anything. Anyway, this is level 2, Research Lab. And in research labs, you do research, naturally. So let's have a look at all of this text and read it out for you, because I know you are lazy to read it yourselves. I'm lazy as well. So I'll do us both a favor. I'll stop being lazy. Location, Biocom Industries, California, USA. Wow, we went places. From Philly to Cali. Damn, boy. Not sure how far away that is, but there's probably a fair amount. Target, Clone Generation Facility. MA 3000 Super Mainframe System. Mission detail. Bioresearch plant is a cover operation for the Knakomichi Corporation. That's a very odd name. Who the fuck calls their corporations like that? It sounds like a Cracker Snatcher Corporation or some shit like that. I don't know. Illegal research into clone generation is taking place at this site using supercomputer technology. Oy vey! Locate the MAMA 3000 mainframe system and destroy all records and experiments relating to clone research. Eliminate all resistance. Psychops will update you. Blah blah. Go do stuff. Oh, by the way, did you notice that none of your weapons carried over for some reason? Yeah, happens all the fucking time. And for some reason this place has music. Sort of. I mean, it's not really music, it's more like just ambient sounds and a little bit of tunes. But Yeah, it has some sort of music for a change, but that's not gonna last forever. Just so we're clear, it never does. Hello there! Starting from level 2, enemies will now come around with guns, so watch out. They know how to use them. And they tend to hurt quite a bit, so try not to get hit by said guns. They know how to use them from quite a range, and you definitely don't want to get caught by this because they can stun lock you pretty nicely. However, these guys with these fairly shitty guns, they can be caught unawares or just, well, caught unawares, if that makes any sense, without too much trouble. They have to cock the gun first before they can fire away. So this allows you an opportunity to either shoot them first or to simply jump and kick right into their face, which in both cases will make sure that they are thrown out of their cocking animation and forced to redo it. That's good. Oh, there's some secret over here. Just blow up these barrels so that you don't accidentally jump into them on your way in or out. And you will find a health kit and an Uzi. Well, that wasn't anything good. But with all the things that I've said so far, the main question still stands. Just where the hell am I playing this then? Well, to be honest, I don't hate the game, in case you thought that I do. It's just that I think it could have been much better. And I want to show it to you that it's really not that bad of a game. It has all the necessary framework to be a good game. It's just that it needs a lot more work on the fun factor. It needs to be more fleshed out. A game like this could really work out, I think. A 3D beat 'em up action adventure? I think it could work. I think this works pretty nicely as it is already. It's just that it doesn't have anything interesting going for it. Well, nobody really knows who the hell HammerMan's is. He's just a generic cop guy who does cop guy things. Nobody really cares who he is. Nobody really wants to care about him because he is generic with generic face. That's all he is. Maybe we could get more exposition about him. Maybe we could delve deeper into his backstory. Or maybe we could just have him be more fun. Because all he does whenever he talks is just act manly and professional. And even in games like Splinter Cell, Sam Fisher, he's supposed to act all professional and whatnot, but he's always acting a bit snarky. He likes to crack a joke every now and then. And that makes the game, Splinter Cell, much more enjoyable for me, despite the fact that I hate the damn series for the simple fact that I suck at the game so damn much. Which, by the way, means we're gonna play it at some point in time so that we can change that fact around. It'll take a while till we get to that though, so don't bet on it happening anytime soon. I'm not doing it all by myself, that's the thing. Gotta get some people first. Oh yeah, there's a secret here. Right behind that thing. What's that secret? It's a power glove. I think power gloves either stay around for a really long time, or they don't break at all and you only lose them if you die. So, try not to die. Oh yeah! This is the one thing that can really fuck you up. Whenever you open up a door, the enemy will start attacking just before the door is fully open and you're fully able to actually walk through it. With the guys who use grenades, that's not a big problem. With the guys who use guns, on the other hand, it's a big problem. Because they'll start firing at you before you can even see them. And that's a problem. Not necessarily a bad problem, because there are ways to get around it. It's probably the only odd glitchy-ish kind of a problem that I wish was not here, but like I said, there are ways around it, so I'm not too worried about it. What's the message saying? We're losing signal? I don't know, I can't hear it. We're losing signal, it seems. Just go down. Alright, R2 is necessary to access these elevators. You hold R2 to see the elevator controls, and then you use your movement controls to choose which way to go. That's about it. But yeah, like I said, that's just about it about this game. Needs more fleshing out, needs more stuff. Because it's about as bare bones as it can be. I wish it had more, because I feel it could really work. It could really work out. It could be a really good thing. Destroying certain generic objects like these lockers will present you with a generic baton, a black baton. It's a very weak melee item, as in it does about as much damage as your punches, and it breaks very fast too. But it is an item that you can use because it's just a little bit faster than punches actually. Therefore a little bit more useful. And, well, like I said, a little bit more powerful than your punches. So either way, you're still going to get some benefit out of it. Starting as early as this area, you are encountered by some of the enemies that actually show up in Fighting Force 1. By the end of the game, that is. I forget what they're called, but they're basically these annoying mutants which can regenerate health. That's not the case in this game. They do not regenerate health here. They're just really buff and can hurt you quite a bit if you let them. So don't. Just beat the shit out of them, which is really not that difficult. Is there any reason at all to destroy these glass containers? No, I just like doing that. I like being a dickhead to these guys. Oh, you can even destroy this pipe? If you can hit it. Can we destroy it? It doesn't look like it. It would have blown up by now. Because if there is one thing about HammerMan's that's clearly established, is that he's on some super drugs which allow him to blow shit up a lot easier than he should be able to with just his fists and kicks. Yeah, that's, I believe, an alternate pathway which you do not need to take. I think it just skips some of the level set pieces, that's about it. I usually don't take it because there's nothing interesting about that pathway. It's just dark and sewer-y. It's basically just a sewer in this area. A bit odd to see it in a research lab, but I suppose everyone needs a little bit of sewage and plumbing. Look at that. Look at that damage I get from kicking these guys. Ridiculous. Sometimes you can see the score flashing after you reach certain thresholds. I believe that just means you gotta continue. Because I do remember I had at one point died a couple of times. That's how I learned how that boiling water in the first level behaves. I died twice to it in very bullshit ways. And later on, when I died another time, I didn't have one continue left to use up, or basically none actually at that point. Instead, I had like 5 maybe. I don't remember the exact number, but I had a lot more. That glowing thing over there is a mine. Do not touch. Do not even think about it. Ah, here's the best melee weapon in the entire game ever. The katana. It has a cut off end for some reason, because I recall katanas not being shaped like that, unless it's It's a futuristic katana, so it totally makes sense. I don't know. One thing it does make sense though is that it cuts like a katana. It cuts perfectly. It is the strongest melee weapon in the game and as such deals the most damage. Many enemies can die from one hit of this precious commodity, as it does not show up often. Oh, you see what I mean by that bullshit there? They can shoot you when the door is opening up. That guy took a little longer to get there because he wasn't exactly in front of the door, or just in the necessary range for him to shoot. But once they start shooting you and stun locking you like that, they can actually throw you out of the room and force the doors to close, which forces them to reset. A very annoying thing that can happen. I really wish they wouldn't do that.